Hey there everyone, this is Ray Carcillo, and today we are looking at the original Dead Space, developed by Visceral Games and published by EA for the Xbox 360. The game opens up in deep space in the year 2508. The USG Ishimura, a mining vessel that doubles as a temporary space colony for its 1,000 or so workers and inhabitants, has sent out a distress signal, and in response, the USG Kellion has been dispatched to investigate. On board the Kellion is your character, Isaac Clarke, an expert engineer who made sure to be assigned to this mission because his lady friend Nicole was stationed on board the Ishimura. Nothing like a deep space booty call, huh? After the landing procedures fail and the Kellion crashes into the docking bay of the mining ship, everyone on board realizes there is a lot more wrong with the Ishimura than they originally thought. Most of the crew became infected with an alien organism that kills them. But upon their deaths, the people were reanimated and transformed into some of the sickest-looking undead you'll ever find in a survival horror game. Now, what makes these creatures unique to most other survival horror games is the head and body are not the weakest points of these creatures. No, instead, the limbs of the creature, their arms, legs, and in some cases tails, are where it seems you can do the most damage, which is why it's awfully convenient that Isaac happens to be an engineer. So instead of getting your standard shotguns, pistols, and grenade launchers, you get some futuristic welding and cutting tools, and weaponize them into things that Isaac can use to hack and slash his way through all 12 chapters of the game. Isaac can defend himself in other ways, though. He can curb stomp and melee as necessary, and aside from the unique weapons that Isaac can use, it is 500 years in the future, so you would expect some other technological upgrades. And these come in the form of stasis and kinesis. When you acquire these upgrades, Isaac can reach out and move large objects he physically would not be able to otherwise, and with stasis, he can freeze enemies or malfunctioning equipment that may be in his path. But Dead Space doesn't stop mixing things up there. Being a third-person shooter with a locked over-the-shoulder camera, Dead Space came up with some interesting ways to let you know what's going on in the world around you that continues the sci-fi theme very well. For example, Isaac's health bar and kinesis meter is actually placed along the spine of his suit, so you can always see it and how you are affected as enemies latch onto you or take swipes at you if you let them get too close. Also, since you are in deep space, there are portions of levels where the ship has been breached by space debris, and so Isaac will have to rush through portions of the game as he watches his oxygen tank slowly deplete. There is also how you gather information about the ship, as all video, audio, and text logs that fill in the story of the final days of the Ishimura play out on a holographic projector built into your suit. This way you can keep fighting the never-ending stream of necromorphs as you listen to the stories of the recently deceased. Another interesting twist to Dead Space is the use of sound. Usually not as high a priority in most games, the sound of Dead Space is critical to setting the mood and is really what helps build the suspense. Due to the necromorph's physiology and since you're on a spaceship, you can constantly hear the creatures skittering about in ventilation ducts, never knowing exactly when they'll pop out and get you. This use of sound is also critical since the camera is locked on Isaac's right shoulder. You'll need to listen very carefully to make sure none of the huge variety of creatures are trying to sneak up behind you. Not to mention when you're in breached areas of the ship and the sound of your weapons and the enemy's screams are muffled since in deep space, well, no one can hear you scream. Throw in a bone-chilling original score and the sound of this game really drives home the isolation you feel as you explore the Ishimura. The only down point some people might have with Dead Space is a lack of replay value. Although you can do multiple playthroughs and have your weapons carry over into the next one, once you collect all the achievements and beat the story a couple of times, without any multiplayer or real collectibles, there isn't really much to bring you back to this aside from refreshing your memory before sequels and prequels are released. With all things considered, from the truly horrifying atmosphere laid out before you to the great look and feel of the game, unique twists on your standard survival horror gameplay, and a compelling plot, all these things make Dead Space probably one of the greatest survival horror games of all time, as well as easily the worst booty call. Dead Space really builds up that feeling of dread when you turn every dark corner and see the mutilation and carnage that clearly unfolded in the halls of the Ishimura. If you have not picked up Dead Space yet for your collection, then you are truly missing out and must buy this immediately.